Hey everybody, it is Colin Nitro for Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited coming at you with another request from a viewer. This is a viewer requested Nitro Steak in which you can do so. Just email me at nitromaniactv@gmail.com with your event and what you would like for myself to take a look at. But I can't do this one alone, so I'm going to bring in our guest contributor for this one. It is Moorhouse. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fabulous. Yourself?
Oh, great. It's great to have you on. It's great to have you talking some. Today we're going to talk some old school WWF from like the early 90s, which is kind of your wheelhouse a little bit. You love the old school stuff.
I've being a kid of the 80s, you grew up on Hulkamania. That was part of your lore. Between that and Ninja Turtles, that was pretty much my life.
Excellent stuff. Yeah, no, this is going to be good. So we are going to hit up the 1991 UK Rampage exclusive Coliseum Video VHS release, otherwise just titled Rampage 91. But there's your official event logo and what it all looked like and everything from that era. And let's get all the specs out of the way. This event took place April 24th, 1991 from the London Arena in London, England. Having been to London itself, I can tell you that arena is no longer standing. They demolished it back in 2006. The premier indoor arena in London now is either the Wembley
O2.
Arena or the O2. Yeah. The Wembley Arena is just slightly smaller. I think that's where like
Wembley is their stadium. It's their outdoor stadium.
Yeah,
for 80,000.
Yeah, there's the arena complex though that's adjacent to it. That's like a smaller, like eight or 10,000 seat thing. And I think all they do is just like concerts and trade shows there and that stuff.
And then the O2s for the UFCs and stuff. And that's
the UFC
21.
The UFC is your American-based arena that's over there. I don't know what the seating capacity is, but it's got to be somewhere within the.
I think it's 20 or 21.
Yeah. 60 to 21,000 range and that stuff. And yes, like you're correct. You've seen this. We've seen in the past. We've seen WWE Raw, I should say, episodes taped there and SmackDown episodes taped there in the past. We've also seen obviously a numerous number of UFC pay-per-views, concerts galore. Go to any streaming service and you'll find something from the O2. And that's in the middle of the Greenwich Millennium Dome district. It's all under one giant dome, Moorhouse, where it's all built, and the arena is like in the center of it, and then there's like an arena district that's built around the arena in the dome. It's all under a dome. It's crazy. It's nutty.
You got to think there's like 20 or 30 football clubs in that London alone, and they all have their own stadiums and arenas too.
It's insane. We're not even considering cricket either. Like,
no, cricket has their own arenas too.
Cricket is like baseball over here. It's like it's some insane stuff. It's wild.
And then rugby, yeah, you got a lot of stadiums in London.
The video rental market in the early 90s, and that's the whole basis of this, is that this was a Coliseum video release for us in North America. If you were in the UK watching this, you got to see this on Sky Sports as part of your WWF package. This was the annual post-WrestleMania European tour that they used to do almost all the time. I think they just stopped doing that. I want to say in the late 2000s. They used to go over to Europe all the time after WrestleMania, and
they did their two shows. They did the Inception tour, which I think was in May, and then they did the Rebellion tour, which was in the fall.
Okay, yeah. So that makes perfect sense. But this one was a straight to video exclusive Coliseum home video release for us over here. So shout out to I'll start with you. Shout out to where you used to rent videos. You can give a business name, obviously, because those businesses are probably, it might be defunct, it might not. I don't know. So.
Well, I didn't really rent tapes probably until mid-90s because, I was a TV watcher. I was under 10 at the time. Yeah. The first tape I do recall renting was Winter Seasons Meetings, which was a 95 tape. It included just highlights of In Your House pay-per-view matches.
Cool.
Bulldog versus Brett was one of them. And I got that from Holyrood Video Station down in Edmonton on 90th and 75th. They were there. Okay. I even worked there in the early 2000s before they closed.
Awesome. That's great stuff. So I went through several up here. We used to go in the Northeast in Edmonton up to a place called Lakeview Video, and that was right off of, I want to say 167th Street or something like that up there. It's no, 167th Ave, I should say, not street. And then they closed down, and then when they closed down, we signed up with Blockbuster, and I think we had 2 different Blockbusters that we hit up, but the one that was the one that we visited the most was the Londonderry Blockbuster right across from Londonderry Mall. So that was the home base for a bit. And then a couple years after, they opened up like one of the biggest video rental shops in the city, one of the most legendary video shops in the city, the Movie Studio off of 144th Ave, and their wrestling selection was second to none. And so naturally, we migrated over there, and just was, that was my video place until video shops became obsolete, in about 2014, 2015-ish, and that's it. So
I still have one in Stony Plain here near me, so
that's cool. There's still the odd one that's still kicking around, and that's, if I know there's one that's still operational on White Avenue, but they kind of are more in Edmonton, which is kind of more of a horror-esque B-movie type rental place. But
yeah, a lot of weird obscure titles.
Yeah. And of course, we're not counting adult video stores because there's still plenty of those around, but that's completely different. So,
yeah, I haven't visited those places like Kellen has.
Called research, but anyway,
R&D.
All right. So, but yeah, this was a exclusive Coliseum home video release over here. We got a chance to probably see it or rent it and that stuff as a kid. Not to be confused with the other Rampage 91, which was a compilation again of I think around the same time post-Mania television matches that they taped for like primetime and that stuff. And that one had, and it's confusing because when this show showed up to be reviewed, I thought that's what we were reviewing was, okay, Rampage 91. I've seen this before because it had matches featuring Tony Atlas as Salva Simba. It had matches featuring Ricky Steamboat in the full-on dragon regalia with the breathing fire and that stuff and everything. This one has nothing of it. In fact, it's its own kind of pay-per-view house show thing as we get into it here.
I would much rather have the US one because I think I've seen that tape and it has a casket match with Undertaker and Kamala, which is a lot more entertaining.
I believe there's an Undertaker Ultimate Warrior match on there too, which is really
rare.
Good as well. It's a rare one. But yeah, so we go back to April 24th, 1991, and of course the WWF Rampage card. We go into the opening, and did you see the dude getting yeeted from the ring? One clip? He ate it when he hit the mat.
Yeah,
that was a rough bump. He's just basically, he didn't land like a cat or anything like that. No. He just kind of stopped the fall with his face. So, yikes! I don't know what that's from. If that was the clip is so quick, it could have been anybody's match, honestly. But just this dude just gets absolutely yeeted.
Yeah, it's just their opening highlight package to welcome you to the event. So.
And basically, other than that, it's all highlight packs from everything that's happened in 1991 so far. Like we see
Hogan Slaughter.
We see Hogan Slaughter. We see Macho hitting Warrior with the scepter. We see
Virgil, I think, gets his comeback.
Yeah, with his comeback and the whole schmoz, the whole deal there. So, and then we go right to our announced team at ringside, and it is Vince McMahon and Roddy Piper, which is one of the weirder tandems that you'll see going back through WWF history on any recorded medium that they have on the network or you name it. And I do believe this is on the network as well too. So if anybody wants to go take a look at it, it's on the WWE network as well. But they run down the card, and thoughts on Piper as a color commentator during this era. It always seemed like to me it was
the dude
peg round hole.
I don't mean like I'm a big Piper fan, and I don't mean any disrespect for Piper, but he's a weird coked up babyface color commentary.
It's strange.
Who's weird? Who's always willing to call out Vince McMahon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does that a lot during the show. It's crazy. This how much he does it. It's just insane. So,
and looking back, like I was watching a bit of it, last of it last night, and the one thing I noticed is this is a rare Vince main commentary on an event show, because he's always on B show commentary.
Yeah, it was always he always handled like all the Beast Show stuff, like definitely superstars from that era. You'd see him all over WWF superstars. Like,
but this would have been Gorilla and Bobby, or Gorilla and guest commentary.
Or Gorilla and Piper, something like that. You know, along those lines, like it was for the Rumble, it was Gorilla and Piper, right? So, you know, that's kind of weird. And I'm trying to remember what it was for Survivor Series. I think it was Gorilla and Piper at Survivor Series as well too. So
Rumble was. I thought Rumble was Gorilla and Ted.
No,
No,
that's you're thinking 94, so that's a few years later. Yes. Yeah, where it was Ted and Vince actually doing it. Yeah, but you know, your two pay-per-views leading up to WrestleMania, you had Gorilla and Piper as the color commentary team, and then
WrestleMania was Heenan.
Yeah, Heenan came back into the booth for WrestleMania. You know, save for a few matches where Heenan's clients were actually involved, and so he had to go and
I think Duggan
manage them.
Duggan did some commentary at WrestleMania.
Duggan did commentary at ringside, and then Andre did commentary for not
Andre.
Andre.
What do you think of that move, Andre? I think it's America.
No, it was what was it? It was Lord Alfred Hayes that came down on my side. Yeah, Andre ran out during that match. Well, not ran out, but more waddled out. But there we go.
If I were producer, I would never let Andre near a microphone.
Oh, he gets mic time here.
Oh, I know he does. I know. We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. But let's go. So we get into the card, and we think. Well, first we're going to talk about the stuff that's not on the tape. A couple of dark matches that are very interesting.
Did you see the first dark match here? Because I looked at it. I'm like, oh, I would have paid money to see that.
We have Dave Taylor, Squire David Taylor, Steven Regal, William Regal.
William Regal.
He who has just signed in AEW at time of this recording. And Tony St. Clair, who's another British wrestling legend, taking on Drew McDonald, Chip Cullen, and Johnny South, and the six-man team of Taylor, Regal, and St. Clair defeat McDonald, Cullen, and Johnny South in 10 minutes even. I would have loved to see that match. Hopefully that shows up on they're not making, DVDs anymore. Maybe on like a network, odds and ends or something, or on Peacock one day or something like that. It's like a rare match or something, but I doubt it with Regal not in the company anymore. They might have to be featuring that as
and Triple H being one of Regal's backers and not having any power now. So
yeah, so that's basically it. But man, that would be fun to see. And then the Brooklyn Brawler defeating Steve Casey in 7 minutes and 29 seconds in a dark match as well. So they're still milking the Brawler gimmick at this point. He shows up kind of off and on when they need an extra guy, basically.
He's your jobber.
Yeah, but a push jobber sometimes. So if they were light on a show or something like that, they'd throw him out there and give him the heel win.
King of the jobbers.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
The king of the jobbers. Yes, indeed. So, getting into the cassette itself, we go into the first contest. It is Jim the Anvil Neidhart taking on the Warlord. 13 minutes and 31 seconds a runtime for this thing.
It's a long match.
It's a long match. We know we're in for a long night when the music plays for the Anvil, so the crowd gets up at it, and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome! He's a baby face." And it's like, okay, cool. So it's the Hart Foundation music. They had just split Brett and Anvil after losing the tag titles at Mania to the Nasty Boys. So they are,
Brett's on a break right now. I think
Brett,
a month or two off. So
yeah, he's on a break. So they're trying to establish Neidhart as this baby face, mid card, heavyweight babyface, basically. But he still walks out, and like the hearts are huge, especially in the UK. So of course the music plays and that stuff, and so there's a big pop. But the ring announcer is an interesting fellow himself. We'll get to him in a second, but he gives the intro for Jim the Anvil Neidhart because it's Jim the Anvil Neidhart's music. He looks down the ramp, and we see on the camera, it's not Jim the Anvil Neidhart. It's the freaking Warlord just stomping to the ring. Absolutely just livid out of his mind. So production bots right there. And congrats, whoever the sound guy is. He now has a roided up 6'6", 6'7" monster angry at him because they played the wrong music. So
charisma galore in this event.
It's a charisma vacuum for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, if you want to continue there, I'll make my points.
No, go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Overall, the match was a powerhouse versus powerhouse. Slow, who can, if you can escape my hold, can you power out of it? Traditional Warlord match anyway. Yeah. The crowd, I was impressed, was very hot for this match.
Oh yeah, I don't think they died out much during the night. There were obvious points
they did. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but
they were really behind Jim. They love Jim Neidhart.
Yeah. No, like I said, the hearts were huge during this time period, and rightfully so. It was great. The ring announcer, Mel Phillips, a very controversial and I guess morbidly interesting character, I guess, throughout the years and that stuff. He was one of the few people that were named in that WWF sex ring boy scandal, I think in the early 90s or so. So about a year or so from the recording of this event, they basically can him and rightfully so. And I think he ends up going to jail shortly thereafter. So it's kind of a weird deal looking at this, but
they didn't do anything with Pat Patterson. They
just
gave him more money.
No, yeah, it's there are hours and hours of podcasts out there already on the WWF Ring Boy scandal and that stuff, and Dark Side of the Ring last year when they were talking about the steroid scandal, kind of hit on it slightly a little bit because they were obviously they were focusing on that, and both those scandals kind of pop off at about the same time, right? So it's less than a year from this event that all this kind of starts to manifest. I think it's like early February 92-ish, because it's on the road to WrestleMania, and you see all the main matchmakers and that stuff in WWF at the time leave the company. So that's because of one reason or another being implicated in this, I should say. But yeah, it's kind of a pre-cringe time. It's like watching like a Chris Benoit match from like 2007 prior to the tragedy there and that stuff. It's like what's going to happen, but it's like exactly. But the finish for this thing was Warlord going for a big splash in the corner, but the Anvil catches him into a kind of a small package for the 1-2 free count, and that's it. Big pop.
And then they both get into each other's faces again.
Yeah, post match. I don't think they could hear anything in the ring that night at all. I think the in-ring communication from Gorilla out to the ring itself, watching this, I kind of got the idea that there was none.
That's why I think this is just a glorified house show.
Well, yeah, and we should, if we did mention it off the top, we should say that this was being broadcasted live on Sky Sports in the UK. This was their big MSG special / network special for the year. Moving on, we go to a interview segment where there were a lot of these during the show. Mean Gene interviews Ted DiBiase and Sensational Sherry. That's to basically hype up the upcoming match that would be next on the card. It would be the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase with Sensational Sherry versus Texas Tornado Kerry Von Erich. And this thing ran 14 minutes and 5 seconds, but it was 14, in my opinion, it was 14 minutes and 5 seconds of quality wrestling between the two of them. I enjoyed this one. This was, two guys that had made names for themselves in the territory era. And, you got the rare occasion here where Kerry looks sober. He looks like he's, the old school Kerry Von Erich from the 80s here showing up. And I don't think the Von Erichs made a lot of UK appearances. So this might have been a one, if not the only time Von Erich went over there for anything. So I think this was probably a special card in his mind, and got a chance to work with Ted DiBiase, who is arguably one of the best technicians they have there at that time on the roster. Ted's just coming off of this hot angle with, off of Virgil, but now it's a hot angle involving Piper, because Piper involved himself in all the stuff and everything. So, man, it's a it's a schmoz there. And you were mentioning, we were talking quickly just prior to flipping on the record button here. You think that all this is green screen between him and Piper and
I was watching it, and if you look closely enough, you could see that the forefront of Vince and Rod and Piper don't really match the background that they're at.
Right.
So I do think it was green. They didn't travel. They just did the green screen interviews on their side.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So, and then you think that the whole pointing thing, where Piper's at the commentary booth pointing back at DiBiase, was either maybe something they shot quickly in venue, or it might have been some trickery back in the studio or something like that.
I think it was trickery of it.
Yeah.
Because if I understand production of wrestling at this time, a lot of it was footage that they film, like they do Superstars, they do their other TV events. They just tape the matches and all the B footage and then compile it in studio. I
mean, I could believe that, that's one line of thought with it. I could also believe that, they did their own kind of UK exclusive play-by-play with both Vince and Piper there, but then obviously this being a home video release,
they fixed a lot of it. Yeah,
that they fixed a lot of it in post, and maybe they redid all of the commentary back at the the studios in Stanford,
which is actually normal for Vince to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He loves his post-production stuff. So if he's on the call for something, I think for sure he would have.
And then they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do this on tape." Well, this is not good enough for tape. We got to do it again.
Cringe moment early on commentary with Piper. Texas born, Texas bred. When he dies, he'll be Texas dead.
A year later, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ouch.
And then most of the commentary for Piper was just making Sherry jokes.
Yeah. Well, that's the first 30 minutes of the show, he is just basically making jokes about Sensational Sherry, who looks extremely hot during this era, by the way. But there we go. Man, it is with Piper. You extremely didn't know what the hell you were going to get on commentary a lot. That's why he was better suited for host segments on the with the Piper's Pit, or doing in ring stuff.
Well, nobody forgets his famous Tony Atlas Saba Simba commentary. Here he comes, Saba Simba. That's Tony Atlas.
Well,
no, it's not.
but Tony Atlas went back to Africa and found his roots, and
then the other commentary that's always bothered me is the Undertaker debut, because Piper kind of ruined it.
Look at the size of that ham hock.
He needs a little nap time.
I almost wonder how that would have ran with like Gorilla and Jesse, in a commentary booth, like the pay-per-view team we all got used to seeing.
Jesse's a good heel commentary, and he sells things a lot better. Piper, he just says whatever's on his mind, even if it's not proper to what they're trying to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Definitely. All right. Well, the runtime, like I said, for this thing was 14 minutes and 5 seconds. The finish with this was a brawl to the outside, and just as both are about to get back in, Sherry kind of rakes Kerry's back, allowing Ted to get the count out win. But post-match, DiBiase tries to assault Von Erich a little bit more, but Kerry hits the discus punch, which is a move that they were building up to slowly throughout the entire match, and the crowd was on edge for it. And then once that discus punch hit, it was, man, that crowd exploded. So, good booking, great match. Should have been the opener. I think you could knock off Anvil and Warlord there and just run with this as an opener, and you would have been good. This was a solid opener, but
the only thing the one thing I did notice, the crowd wasn't actually as hot as they were for the Jim Neidhart match.
There we go. Yeah,
they were very excited about when Kerry got his comeback, but overall the match, they're a lot more quiet. They were way more into the Jim Neidhart match for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Next segment, Mean Gene. There's a lot of Mean Gene. Mean Gene must have been huge in the UK, or they just had to fill out time.
And it seems like everyone and their baby got promo time today.
Mean Gene with Haku. Haku speaks Tongan. I didn't understand it. Neither did Mean Gene. And that was the whole gist of the promo, where Mean Gene just threw his hands up and that's it. And then the beauty of a home video cassette condensed version of a show, which if you can call this condensed, great, is you go right into the ring, or right back into the arena, I should say, and you get Mean Gene interviewing Greg the Hammer Valentine right after.
Everyone loves those Greg Hammer Valentine promos.
I mean, it's cool to see the Hammer in a rare babyface role here. He has a very interesting 1991. Him and Andre the Giant, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. They both shouldn't be in WWF right now. No, really, they shouldn't be. They should be working with Turbo Herb Abrams and the UWF at this moment. What had happened is they signed contracts to appear on UWF shows and had actually taped segments, during UWF tapings to, build storylines and stuff. WWF caught wind of it and basically said, no, we're going to come back with better offers with both of you guys. And that's it. They signed them both prior to the 1991 Royal Rumble. There are videos online that feature Andre the Giant as a participant in the Royal Rumble that advertise him, at least. Of course, we know that never happened, but the Hammer is. And as punishment, for the Royal, for signing with Herb Abrams, Vince decides, hey, Hammer, you're going to be our Iron Man for the 91 Rumble. You're going to go 38, 39 minutes or so, along with Rick Martel, who is the actual Iron Man, who I think goes, somewhere in the mid-40s.
And can wrestle.
The problem with that is that's not punishment for the Hammer because it takes him 10 minutes to warm up. Oh, okay.
It's punishment for us.
A punishment for us. Okay. I thought you lost your voice there for a second.
No, I admire Greg Valentine's credentials. He's been working since the late 60s. He's a charisma black hole as well.
There are a few of these on this show. The charisma black holes. Yikes. All right. So anyway, this one goes 8 minutes and 41 seconds. About 3 minutes longer than it should. And this is, like I said, I've written down, this is a weird one. But there's a cool segment here where Piper kind of goes off talking about barefooted wrestlers, why wrestlers wrestle barefoot, and that stuff, inside the psychology a little bit. I thought that was pretty cool. And a cool end sequence with a roll up by Valentine to get the 1-2 free count. And post match, well, they just keep fighting. And Hammer stands alone in the ring with his hand raised. So again, really cool to see him in a rare babyface role here. We've seen him as a heel for a bit. Did this match necessarily need to happen this way on the pay-per-view? I don't think so. I mean,
whatever these two want to do, they can do it backstage without the audience watching.
Oh, the backstage fight would be way better than the actual match.
Yeah, there's a lot of these lower openers and mid-carder matches.
Strap in, folks. what's the old saying? We're starting at a 5 and we're taking it down from there. Anyways.
Savage, you want to go to England? No. Warrior? No.
No.
No. Brett? No. Undertaker? Nah.
It's not even a Nasty Boys match on this card, and they just won the tag titles of all things.
Tito, you want to go to England? No.
Go backstage. We got Mean Gene with the Rockers hyping another Rockers Orient Express match. Okay, interesting. Good stuff, because they had a great match at the Rumble that year. So obviously they're building up with that. Mean Gene with the Orient Express in the ring. And of course, this is still Odd Job era Mr. Fuji with the top hat and the cane and the suit. So your classic Mr. Fuji look here.
And they have their Kato, who's actually not Oriental.
Paul Diamond under a mask.
Yeah.
So AWA's bad company, basically, and just sub out Diamond Dallas Page with Mr. Fuji at this point in time, and that's that. So the runtime for this entire match is 15 minutes and 46 seconds, but off the top, Fuji blasts Jannetty with the cane early on that he has, and the Rockers, though, instead of Jannetty selling the cane, which sometimes he did, I have a MSG match on tape between the Rockers and the Orient Express where I think it's on one of the old super tapes or something like that, that Jannetty is just selling it at ringside through the majority of the match, and it's up to Michaels to fight about 3/4 of the match between, I think it was Sato and Tanaka at the time. So this was like a year prior, 1990 or so. And instead of that, the Rockers go to the ring announcer and say, we'll be right back. If Fuji insists to be at ringside, we have somebody that has a one-night managerial license that is going to be in our corner. So, give us a sec. We'll be right back. So they take off. Of course, Vince and Piper are doing the speculating who it is and that stuff. And Andre the Giant comes out as the second for the Rockers. So we have the Rockers with Andre the Giant versus the Orient Express with Mr. Fuji. Yeah.
It's actually the Rockers with a pylon who looks like Andre the Giant.
It's the shell of Andre the Giant at this point, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, This is where his health is really bad. He can't move on his own. He has to hold everything when he's walking.
Herb might have ditched or might have dodged a bullet, honestly. Like, if he would have brought in Andre, like, what could have Andre done for him? Just not a whole lot. That's, I almost have to liken it to Paul White in AEW right now. It's like, you brought Paul White in. What can he do for you in the ring? Well, you might get a match out of him, once a year. That's about it.
They tried him on commentary, and that didn't work either.
I think he's just booking matches now as a backstage agent. Yeah, that probably was going to be Andre's path had he, his health didn't decline so quickly. Is congrats, dude. You're an agent now. So.
Or he still gets paid well.
Yeah. Well, he would have had a job for life with WWF. Guaranteed. He would have seen that guy jump,
I'm sure he would have been a babyface and heel at least 20 times in the last year and a half.
Give him the Paul White treatment? Is that what you're saying? Oh, man. Oh, that'd be good. That'd be bad, but it'd be good. All right. So, finish of the match. Andre Googles and KO's Fuji, who was trying to whack somebody at ringside and catch who would ring.
It was Jannetty. Jannetty had the hot tag, and then while he was getting the momentum, he got hooked on the leg. Andre
levels Kato with the cane. Why did Andre need to use the cane in this? You just level him with his fist. Like, I don't get it, but there we go. But Andre levels Kato with the cane as the Rockers go for the patented double dive finish.
Double elbow, yeah.
Yep. The 1-2-3, and the Rockers are victorious. So
and they get their title shot. This was a title shot contender match.
I did not catch that. That was number one contendership, eh?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So they'll face the Nasty Boys at a future event.
At a future event, probably the next time that they were in London. Which do they have the 1992 card on?
They do, and it's not. They do, but it's.
Oh, they do.
We can go through it after. So
okay, yeah, we'll talk about it later. Yeah. There we go. Because I know I'm looking at the Wikipedia
I have the 91
page
up here, but there's a 92 up here as well. I could pull up. So.
Oh, excellent! Right on. Yeah. So like I'm on Wiki. It's got 89 and 91. Obviously,
I have 92 up now too, so we can go through that. Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, That's Steve.
But either way, I mean, the Rockers and the original Oriental Express in that Royal Rumble 90 was a fantastic match. Was one of the hottest tags. This one, it just didn't seem the chemistry was right today.
Yeah. The 91, it was actually the 91 Rumble was the opener, and it's on like several greatest matches of the 90s DVD sets that they put out.
But there was no Kato on that team.
No, that's right. They changed the it was still Sato and Tanaka at that point.
And those two work together, but Kato is not a Japanese wrestler, and he's trying to be a Japanese wrestler.
Kato is a former indoor soccer goalie from Thunder Bay, Ontario. Seriously, that's what Paul Diamond was doing before he got lured to the AWA. He was like, I think he played with the Tampa Bay Breakers or something like that in the NASL back in the day. Yeah. So there you go. There's your useless information right there. Moving forward, it's gotta be intermission time after this, because we get a whole bunch of Mean Gene and we get a whole bunch of interviews. We get the usual Mean Gene with Hulk Hogan, main event hype brother.
Yeah, Hogan he was drinking tea with the Queen earlier, and she was like, "You got to go beat Slaughter tonight," and he's gonna do that.
Well, they kept hyping the coalition and that stuff, and that how the Brits were the coalition that helped out the U.S. and that stuff. And I think there were, the Brits, and I think we sent troops over too, just in kind of more of a peacekeeping role than anything else. And that's what I think what the Brits were doing too. So,
but this was an interview hot time, because then right after Hogan, I think we had Andre do it. But Andre appeared very intoxicated during his interview.
He seemed very legit happy to be there. I have written down, I wonder if this was the last time he was over in the UK.
I had the same thought. I had the same thought if it was his last WWF appearance on TV.
So potentially historic stuff there, which is kind of cool.
We got Brooklyn Brawler promo.
The Brawler basically trashing London and calling New York a cleaner city. Yeah, okay there, pal. I've been to both. London, immensely more cleaner.
and then before that, we got a rare Barbarian promo, and I can't recall the last time the Barbarians had a promo in my life.
Yeah. And then to wrap things off, Mean Gene is talking with Jim Neidhart.
Yep, and Neidhart got a promo. Yeah,
Jim Neidhart got a promo, and they're asking, okay, you used to be a tag team wrestler now, and so some kind of interesting character development stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. Are they, was there a character that they were starting to work for him that they just didn't, that they?
It looks like they were testing. They were testing him as a mid-card powerhouse babyface. But Neidhart he just doesn't have that ability. He's not a singles babyface wrestler. He's a tag team specialist.
Exactly. He's the muscle, and they finally figured it out years later with Owen. Is that he's your bodyguard. He's your Jake Hager. He's your the Mr. Hughes. He's your bodyguard. He's the guy that stands at ringside and is your enforcer to the more charismatic heels, basically.
And the biggest problem with Neidhart is his conditioning. Like he has power, but he can't go more than 10 minutes.
You had him go 13 minutes earlier.
And they were both tired. They were both gassed.
Unreal. They were. Well, we know that the Warlord was on the gas, but super unleaded. So we go right back into the ring. Well, first we have a really uneasy segment with Roddy Piper hanging with a fan.
He was groping that fan pretty good.
Yeah. Piper was hyped. A little artificially hyped.
He looked under his skirt.
Oh, man. It's weird.
I think Piper had a good time. We'll just say Piper had a good time.
And then we go into what easily is the most long and obnoxious and a not needed match on this card.
I think it was the worst match I've seen on the card, and maybe worst match I've seen in the last year.
We have Jimmy the Superfly Snuka versus the Barbarian. Runtime 15 minutes and 56 seconds.
It's the third longest match, but it could have been the longest by 10 more seconds. That's how scary it is.
Yeah. It is so long that the lights go out in this match.
The lights,
twice.
Yeah. twice.
Halfway through this thing, the lights go out and the crowd is still popping. And then
the crowd's not popping. No, the crowd is quiet. You can hear a pin drop. I heard one of the fans keep yelling, "Susan, Susan."
What are they calling for, Susan? Jeez.
They're looking for Susan, but
Susan.
The crowd was not into it. I mean, they were behind Snuka a bit, but the whole match was, can Snuka survive? Because the Barbarian was just destroying him for like 15 minutes straight.
I do like Barb's elbow drops from this era though, where he kind of walks the middle rope a little bit and drops the elbow. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Yeah,
and it's also an easy match because we know the history of Snuka now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was hard to watch this and that stuff, and then of course Piper justifying why the crowd is not seeing Snuka in bare feet anymore because he just is at the age where he's like, screw it, I'm wearing boots at this point.
Well, he is in his late 40s, yes.
Yeah, that's about it. That's the only way he can work is to protect his feet. Barb goes for an assisted pin on the ropes, but Snuka gets it reversed for the 1-2-3 to the thrill of absolutely nobody.
These again, you're having lower to early mid-carders getting 15 to 20 minute matches. It feels like I'm watching, instead of a WWF program, maybe a local indie promotion.
Well, that's the problem, is that a lot of indie promotions at this time were using ex-WWF talent because they were allowed to.
Yep.
And WWF would still... Here's the wild thing, is that guys like Bob Orton, Greg the Hammer Valentine, etc., along those lines, they're still under contract to WWF at this time. WWF is just allowing them to take independent dates for extra paydays because they're not using them on house shows or anything like that. Shortly after this, or in around this as well, SWS opens up in Japan. So you're going to see a lot of these guys that aren't used on WWF TV go over and work with Tenryu's SWS promotion for a couple of years as well.
Yeah, I think you have Haku and Barbarian head over there. Snuka, I think, goes to ECWF right away after this. Like the Eastern Coast Wrestling, not Extreme.
It becomes Extreme later, but yeah, he's one of the first guys, along with Eddie Gilbert and the Public Enemy.
Because looking at this card, I'm like, okay, this might be near Snuka's last days in WWF. This is definitely, I think, Andre's. Barbarian, Haku aren't far away. Warlord's gone pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly. So there we go. We're just moving on here to the loudest pop of the night, and rightfully so. It goes to the British Bulldog, and he's in the next contest with the Berserker. And this match also goes kind of obscenely long at 16 minutes and 3
It's the
seconds.
longest.
It's the longest match, but it also is. It's the hometown guy coming back to his home country. And this is a big, country-wide pay-per-view spectacle type thing. So, of course, you're going to do this. And, of course, don't forget, you're testing this crowd because I think the idea of having some sort of pay-per-view event in the UK is germinating in Vince's mind. And you're thinking, okay, we have this British wrestler, charismatic, over like hell, this, the whole deal. What can we do with him? And so it's fun to watch this kind of germinate over the year or so that Davey Boy is in WWF until SummerSlam, basically.
Yeah, Wembley's only a year away now, so
yeah, it's a little more than a year at this point, but they're just in the early days of the British Bulldog as a singles character, and not kind of still moving him away from the tag team era and that stuff, and that's about it. So,
unfortunately, he has to work with the Berserker tonight.
Well, hey, John Nord is one of those surprising. He for a heavyweight he can go. So they got him with a good guy.
It's just his gimmick is awful.
Yeah. Oh, it's the early '90s. It's bad gimmicks galore. It's so bad it's good sometimes.
Huss.
So he's remember, Nord is just doing what Bruiser Brody was doing 6 or 7 years prior. So I mean,
yeah, he's just dressed like he's Viking ship raider.
I mean, that's the thing, is that everyone wonders, hey, what would Brody be like in the WWF at that time and that stuff and everything? And I just answer back, look at the Berserker. Vince would have made him a Viking.
No, or he would have made him Butch and hung him out with Sheamus. Oh, sorry, that's relevant. That's current event news.
That's current events.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, Pete.
I still can't get over that. That is just insanity. Pure insanity.
Sorry, Pete. Sorry.
So again, this contest goes 16 minutes and 3 seconds. And of course, Davey Boy was using the Oklahoma Stampede as his finish. Bulldog fights from behind for a lot of his thing, but he finally hooks up the Oklahoma Stampede to net the 1-2 free count.
Yep, good stuff. The crowd is way behind Davey Boy because, hey, he's a Manchester product, and even though London and Manchester don't get along, hey, we're all friends. We're all England today.
More interviews right after. Mean Gene interviews Jake the Snake Roberts. And then Mean Gene interviews John Tenta, a.k.a. Earthquake, because our next contest is Earthquake versus Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yep, it sure is. And
11 minutes and 11 seconds. 11-11, make a wish. I wish this would end. Earthquake defeats Jake Roberts by disqualification because Jake has the snake and does the whole gimmick with the snake. So there we go.
Yeah, he got disqualified for taking a snake out.
Jake took a snake out, yes.
And he's been disqualified for other reasons with that same logic in his life.
We're nearing the end, folks, so it's all good. But yeah, it's that one there. I mean, kind of cool to see Earthquake in a semi-main again, which is, you look at it, he was one of the last two at the Rumble. And I can't remember what his pairing was for WrestleMania 7. If you had
7, he had a squash match, I believe.
I'm just gonna Google that quickly.
He had a squash match that was like a minute or two long. Was it against Butch Reed or something?
No, this was 91, so Reed would have been gone.
WrestleMania 91 is.
By the way, 15 matches on WrestleMania.
He had a squash match against Greg Valentine.
Greg Valentine, yeah, okay. So there we go. There's Vince punishing Greg again. Hey, I'm going to give you a WrestleMania payday, but you're not going over. You're going to get squashed by Earthquake. Yeah. All right, whatever. That's fine. That's all good. All good in the hood. But
just around the corner, this would be, I believe, Tugboat would be turning to Typhoon very soon.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. There's no more Chic Tugboat. It is just Typhoon. So, were you as shocked as I was to learn that Tugboat would have been the fallback for the Iraqi sympathizer gimmick had Slaughter nixed it?
I didn't know that. That's news to me.
That's from the Something to Wrestle With podcast with Bruce Pritchard. So it comes from the sources that would have been there at the time. And I don't think he's making it up, because why the hell would you make up anything like that?
Yeah.
I think that's legit news right there. So,
I mean, it wouldn't be the first. I'm not shocked, because I know WCW tried to put a lot under him as well when he came over. Unfortunately, he butchered his debut.
Kind of fell out of the wall.
Yep. But he's always been well regarded as, hey, this guy's a big guy and he has charisma and he could probably do something with that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, for sure.
And yeah, Earthquake, I love Earthquake. He, for this overall card, if you're ranking on charisma, Earthquake's near the top.
I would say so. Yeah. I mean, the dude loved getting interviewed. I mean, that was probably one of the more fire interviews on this show.
Yeah.
God knows there's a lot of them. So there we go. That's it. And so it comes time to the main event, but not before a couple more interview. Well, one more interview at least. Sgt Slaughter with.
Yeah, we got to interview Slaughter and Adnan.
And Slaughter basically being all full heel. I'm going to take the belt back. Blah 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 blah.
Back to Saddam. Yep.
Yeah. Even though at this point this is in the days after WrestleMania, the Iraqi conflict basically is over. It's fizzled out at that point. It's no longer a world event. That's it.
But Slaughter plays the character until past the summer.
Oh, into the fall. Yes.
Yeah.
And then we get the "I want my country back" promos prior to the 92 Rumble, I think. So,
yeah.
So there we go. moving on to the main event, and this was the singles match for the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. 16 minutes and 1 second apparently on Wikipedia, so they just couldn't hit that 16-minute mark. It is Hulk Hogan versus Sgt Slaughter with General Adnan. Not much to add here other than Hogan must pose, brother, and it's a house show, so you know he ain't losing the belt.
No losing the belt, no blood. Hogan will get his heat back at the end and then pose.
There was powder.
Oh, there's powder, yeah, but but the Hulk up and then the comeback, and it's your typical Hulk Hogan match.
They were playing off of the storyline leading into WrestleMania 7, where Slaughter had burned Hulk Hogan in the face, prior to the match and that stuff. But the problem was that was back like February. You're in April, towards May now at this point, and your big payoff had already happened at Mania with Hogan winning the belt back. So this is like, all right, they're just stretching this program because it's house show, UK exclusive, blah blah blah.
And
blah, blah.
Undertaker didn't want to go,
right? Let's talk about the names that aren't on this card to begin with. And we had talked about it earlier, but we could run them down right now.
Yeah,
no Hulk Hogan. Or sorry, there is Hulk
Hogan. There is a Hulk Hogan.
There we go. Sorry, no Ultimate Warrior.
Nope.
Randy Savage, of course, is working the quote unquote retirement gimmick now at this point, but there's still no Randy Savage, no Boss Man, no Mr. Perfect. Yeah.
Nope. No Legion.
No Legion of Doom. No Nasty Boys.
No Virgil.
No Virgil.
No Taker.
No, yeah, which is a huge surprise.
No Mountie, who was also hot at the time.
The Mountie, yep.
Let's see here.
That's 10 guys, by the way, now at this point.
No Martel, who was hot still at the time.
11, okay, yep.
No Nasties. You already said Nasties?
Yeah, I already said Nasties.
Let's see who else at the Mania here.
That would be 14, actually, because
no Demolition.
Yeah, 15 and 16. So there's 16 guys that you didn't take over for this thing that
are hot.
You think another Legion of Doom versus Nasty Boys match would have been a good, like a disqualification finish for the Nasties hold on to the belts? That would have worked, No Jimmy Hart either. So it's awkward to see Jimmy's guys walk out without Jimmy. No Bobby the Brain Heenan. So again, you're
no Slick too, because Warlord came with no Slick. Yeah.
No Slick. Yeah. No. So none of the managers are there with the exception of Sherry.
And Mr. Fuji went. Yeah.
And Mr. Fuji went. Yeah. So, wow. The total runtime for this show, by the way, if you do wish to watch it, it's about 2 hours and 43 minutes. With a few seconds at the end of it, but you're just watching it for the nostalgia kick of seeing some of your nostalgia favorites in the ring for long periods of time.
House show. It's a house show.
It's a house show. Yes, absolutely. I'm almost scared to ask what you would give this show out of 10, but feel free to let me know and I will pop it up on the screen.
I give it 1.5.
1.5 out of 10. All right.
No, out of 5. If we're doing out of 10, then we'll go 3.
Okay, hang on. I have to make that adjustment then.
just multiply it by 2. So
there we go. Yeah. I can do math. There we go.
3.
Yes. There we go. I'm just waiting for the video to sync back up. There we go.
Better than New Blood Rising.
Just slightly better than New Blood Rising, yeah. It's in a UK exclusive. I'm sure the UK crowd loved it. But man, these matches are long, and a lot of them are not very good, not very great quality. Dud to star and a half or whatever. And so I'm going to give it a 4. Just because it's kind of cool to see, not a negative 4 out of 10, but just 4 out of 10. I just realized how that shows on the screen, but there we go. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10, just because it is, man, it's like pulling your teeth at times watching this. It's kind of there's nothing redeemable about this card, nothing.
But wait, Nitro, you wanted to see the follow-up tour.
Yes, exactly. Okay, well, first we just ran through the 91 card. In 89, this was a card in 1989, which was the first WWF UK event, also known as WWF on UK on Sky One. It took place on the 10th of October 1989 from the London Arena in London, England. So this is the build towards Survivor Series 89. Your dark match had David Finlay.
Finlay? What the heck?
So this is your match, this is your dark match, which is amazing with all these names. You have David Finlay, Rollerball Mark Rocco, who is a huge UK legend, and Skull Murphy defeating Al Perez, Dale Wolf, and Tim Horner.
I would pay to see that. I would pay to see that. Just like the William Regal early match, I'd pay to see a Finlay early match.
Yeah, no kidding. So that's your World of Sport influence right there, which is incredible to see those guys in there. And man, I would have loved to see the Taylor Regal St. Clair 6-man match included on this tape. It would have been great, But you had Coco Beware defeating Boris Zukov. In 10 minutes and 59 seconds. 16 minutes and 9 seconds. Dino Bravo defeating Bret Hart. That could have been awesome.
Canadian, yeah.
That would have been great. Jim Duggan defeats the Honky Tonk Man in 9 minutes and 6 seconds. In your longest match of the night, the Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, defeat the Fabulous Rougeau Brothers with Jimmy Hart, Jacques and Raymond in 24 minutes and 16 seconds.
That would be okay, though. Like, both those teams alone are very entertaining, so I'm sure they could do something well together.
And I recall seeing this match on one of the Shawn Michaels DVD sets, so I think it's out there. It's like on one of the Shawn Michaels DVD sets. It exists. So. I can't remember which one, but it's definitely on one.
Here's your before the main event match, though.
The Brooklyn Brawler defeats Paul Roma
as your second main event.
6 minutes and 13 seconds, and then of course your main event match. Hulk Hogan with Miss Elizabeth at the time taking on it would be Macho King Randy Savage with Queen Sherry in 14 minutes and 4 seconds. So, at least you get a real good main event out of it, because even though they were kind of formulaic, because that's how Macho wrestled, it's a good show. So
yeah, it's just your second main event kind of sucks there, but
yeah, your semi is terrible. It's just unreal. Okay, so
my
1992.
92, we have our dark match is Alan Kirby versus Danny Boy.
I think that this was also the same time that World of Sport was starting to fizzle out in the UK too. So the talent at that point just kind of went off a cliff before the end. So
they don't have a time for the match. It was a singles match, and Kirby went over.
Yeah.
So your official opener is Tatanka versus Skinner.
The Alligator Man.
The Alligator Man, and this is Tatanka during his Goldberg run.
Okay.
That match was our fourth longest at 12 minutes almost.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get LOD versus Mustafa and Bravo, which is a weird tag.
Wow. Okay.
So that's Sheik and Bravo, yeah.
I might go back and take a look at that, because, Iron Sheik is still doing the Iraqi gimmick well into,
92 now, yeah.
Yeah, 92. Well, this is 92. This is February. Sorry.
This is April 92. This is after WrestleMania 9.
So,
after 8, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I got confused by the release date on the WWE Network, which apparently it is on the network because it got released in February 2018 on the network.
Yeah, I don't think Iron Sheik was wrestling in 2018. I hope he was not wrestling in 2018.
Yeah. In which, in this case, this event wasn't released, but it escaped. So there we go.
Yeah, so that's a weird take. I'd like to see how Sheik and Bravo work together.
Yeah, that's got to be one of Bravo's last matches in the company, too.
Yeah, because he got murdered not too long after that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Next, we have Sid Justice with Harvey Whippleman versus The Undertaker with Paul Bear. So, you got two ham hocks there going, as Roddy would say. But they only did a 5-minute match, so it was quick,
which is good. I would want to see this, because this is your WrestleMania 13 preview right here.
Yep, Sid versus Taker.
Yeah. Not even 5 years later. This is a main event for WrestleMania, folks. So
next, you have the World Heavyweight Title match, which is in the middle of the show, and it is Macho Man versus Shawn Michaels.
Weird. Okay.
In 92, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously he doesn't have the Intercontinental title yet because there's an Intercontinental title match later on in the card, but there we go.
But there's another match I'd be interested to see because, this is young Sean with Sherry, who's feuding with Savage, who has Miss Elizabeth back.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
Next, we get the Mountie versus Virgil. Meh.
Nah.
Meh.
Meh. So there's your Mountie making his UK appearance finally.
Then you get the IC title match with Bret Hart and Rick Martel, which that could be a fun match. They both are very good technical wrestlers.
Thumbs up for that one. Yeah, I'd love to see it.
But then the farts come back again with Jim Duggan and the Repo Man going at it for 8 minutes.
The old fart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And then your main event is IRS and the Bulldog.
Wow. The Bulldog defeating IRS in 12 minutes and 48 seconds. Let's just say that the UK exclusives beginning in 1997 with One Night Only get way better.
they put a lot more time in it.
They get to be must see television at that point because you've got, One Night Only in 97 with all the wackiness around a European title and that stuff.
And then Capital Carnage, I think, was the next year.
Which is wacky in its own right because it's Attitude Era WWE.
I think was it Austin versus Shane, I think?
It was Austin versus Taker, I think.
Right. Shane, I think, fought in a match there too.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then you get later on into the 2000s with your insurrections and stuff like that. Yeah, that's kind of the golden era of these exclusive
Oh, and don't forget the first No Mercy was in England.
Yes, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Not the famous TLC one though.
No, this is the UK exclusive No Mercy, which I think was 99, was it not? Yeah, I think
99. So. Yeah, they did 2 No Mercies in 99. They did the UK one and the US one.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, and just going way back in the podcast, just because I know people in the comments will ask about it and that stuff about the video game. What consoles was it released for and that stuff and everything like that. It basically was released on all your second tier consoles. So stuff like your Commodore 64s. I think it came out on some sort of home PC.
It was on Amiga. It was on MS DOS, Atari.
Just you name it, eh? Yeah.
So it's called WWF European Rampage Tour. It's based on the 91, even though all the competitors in it, except all 3 of them, are not on the tour ever, except Hogan.
Oh, okay.
So you form a tag team between Hogan, Savage, Warrior, Art, and Hart, and you have to go fight the Nasty Boys, the Disasters, Money Inc., and then LOD for the title.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's like nobody that toured at all. Where's Kerry Von Erich?
He's not on. He didn't make the game.
Oh, geez. So, anyways, that's all we got right now. Shout out to Nick Opolewski, friend of the channel, who had requested this. If you yourself would like to request a show, feel free to hit us up. tinyurl.com/Nitromaniac TV. And let me just create a banner with the Nitromaniac TV at gmail.com email that you can, email. Mm-hmm. So that's right there. So Nitromaniac TV at gmail.com. Fire in a request if you have an event that you would like us or myself or whoever to take a look at on the channel, and we'll do it. This is the first time that I brought Moorhouse in to take a look at a retro event like this. We'd love to do it more. So, if you have a request for a retro event that might be a little bit better quality than this one, a lot better quality than this one, go ahead. But I think we got some real interesting cards on the horizon here that we were discussing potentially taking a look at here. And yes, to share a text message that you and I had earlier, you get the next pick for next month in return for doing this. I know that this was a bit of a drag, so
and then politically, thoughts out to Ukraine. Keep fighting there.
Slava Ukraini. Yes, absolutely, for sure. All right, that's all we got for right now. I'm Kellen Nitro. He's been Moorhouse. Where can they catch you on the socials?
That House and Cat on Twitter.
Nice. We're here. Got all those spicy takes.
spicy
Tons of
takes. Lots of comments. I don't post a lot of original, but I'll always reply to things that I think are funny or weird.
Well, it's like me. I'm a funny and weird guy. What can I say? But there we go. At Kella Nitro for me on Twitter, Instagram, you name it. We do the whole deal. But yeah, take it easy. Happy wrestling watching, folks. We'll see you next time here on Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. Adieu. Take care. Nitromaniac TV's Drag Files, taking you trackside where an admission pass won't. Subscribe today for the best in modern and archival drag racing content. Plus, coming soon, join Kellen Nitro as he takes a look at the classic races that make up drag racing history in the Retro Race Review. Subscribe today at tinyurl.com/dragfile.